なんとこの中東アフリカで最大級の不動産会社でいらっしゃいます。
I'd comfortably say that we are in the top 3 players in the MENA and Africa region for businesses that compare to ours. Yeah, so hopefully a 2026 listing is in the works.
もうアメリカのアップルとかと並んでもおかしくないぐらいでっかい会社ですよね。そこの200名に高校の時に選ばれていたんですか？そうすると本当に高校の頃からトップエリートみたいな感じで。皆さんこんにちは。 M&A スタジオの野崎です。 M&A スタジオでは M&A アドバイザーや起業家の方々へのインタビューを通じまして視聴者の皆様方にお役立ていただける情報配信を行っています。さて本日私はアラブ首長国連邦ドバイからお届けしております。今日のゲストはドリブンプロパティーズの創業者でいらっしゃいますアブダラ・アラジャジさんです。よろしくお願いします。
It's a pleasure. ありがとうございます。
このドリブンプロパティーズさんというのはですね、なんとこの中東アフリカで最大級の不動産会社でいらっしゃいます。その不動産会社の創業者であるアブダラさんに今日はインタビューさせていただきます。ちょっと簡単にアブダラ社長のご紹介をさせていただきますが、サウジアラビアのご出身でいらっしゃいまして、世界最大級の国有石油会社であるサウジアラムコ、そしてサウジアラビア最大手のサンバ銀行を経て2008年に投資会社であるマーチャントブリッジを設立されていらっしゃいます。そしてそちらではエグゼクティブディレクターとして1000億円を超える資金を調達し事業を拡大していらっしゃいます。今日はですね、海外起業家インタビューということですので、起業家としてのアブダラ社長のことを深く理解できるようなインタビューにしたいと思っております。特にこのドバイという国はですね、20年30年でダイナミックな成長を遂げています。このダイナミックな国家成長の中で起業家としてどういう思いでこの今の事業に取り組まれ、そしてこの中東アフリカ最大級の不動産会社を作ってこられたのかということを今日は聞いていきたいと思います。また私もそんなに流暢に英語が話せないもので今日は通訳ということでフセインさんに今日は参加いただきます。またフセインさんにも改めてインタビューさせてもらいますので皆さん楽しみにしていただければと思います。よろしくお願いします。それではまず視聴者の方にですね、今私簡単にご紹介をさせていただいたんですが、ドリブンプロパティーズという会社がこれ中東アフリカで最大級の不動産会社であるというふうにご説明しましたが、今どういう事業をされていらっしゃるのかお伺いしてもいいでしょうか。
It's hard to put a number as to where we rank because as an organization, similar companies in this sector of the market are rarely public. They remain private. So for us to know where competitors are is not an easy process. However, if you look at it from the agents count as well as total sales value that we do, I'd comfortably say that we are in the top 3 players in the MENA and Africa region for businesses that compare to ours.
この中東の中で、少なくとも3本の指に入るトップ3の中に入る不動産会社であるということですね。不動産の事業といいましてもいろんな事業が、例えば物件を仲介したりあるいはディベロップメントしたりなどいろいろあると思うんですけど、取り扱っていらっしゃるこの業務内容はどういったところになるんでしょうか。
So we're across the board. We like to look at ourselves as a multifaceted real estate organization that covers the entire spectrum of real estate services as well as development. So we do real estate development, we do development management, real estate development through our company Lamar Development, development management through our company Refine, and then we do the traditional brokerage through Driven Properties where we do residential, commercial and the likes. And we have our capital markets division where we buy and sell properties, we add value, we renovate and we exit at certain stages, and that's also within the Driven Properties portfolio.
仲介もされますし、実際に不動産を仕入れて開発して販売するっていうこともされますし、自社が投資家として物件を買って、それを売却したりとか、あるいはリノベーションということもグループ全体でやっていらっしゃると、総合不動産会社と言っても過言ではないのかなと思いましたが、それではこの中東でも3本の指に入るこのドリブンプロパティーズさんなんですが、アブダラさん創業者でいらっしゃってこの会社を作った社長でいらっしゃると思いますが、アブダラさんのキャリアといいますかね、すごく私興味があったんで、しかも先ほどお聞きすると同い年ということで 私40、厳密に言うと次の2月で45歳になるんですけど、アブダラさん40、今4歳。同い年の方がとてつもない大社長なんでちょっとビビってるんですけどどういうふうにこうなられたのかっていうことがすごい興味がありまして、もともとサウジアラビアのご出身だと思うんですが、大学はアメリカに行かれているということでちょっと記事で読んだんですけど、サウジアラビアで高校とか中学をどういうふうに呼ぶのか分かりませんけど、そのぐらいの頃ってどういうことを考えていらっしゃったんでしょうか。
I grew up in Saudi Arabia. The first 12, 13 years of my childhood, I spent it in Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, which was a breath of fresh air. I went for high school in the U.S., so I did boarding school in the U.S. For high school. I then came to Saudi Aramco, just to kind of go through a series of tests in order to qualify for their college sponsorship program. And thankfully, I passed as one of the 200 people in Saudi Arabia that they would, sponsor for their education into the U.S. So I went back to the U.S. First, I started in Louisiana and Baton Rouge, and then I transferred to Pennsylvania, Penn State University, in which I studied computer engineering and economics. So I did a double major then. I finished university in 3.5 years, went back to Saudi Aramco to start my career. The rest is also history, but that answers the first days of my career.
このサウジアラムコって言ったら視聴者の方はご存知の方も多いかもしれませんが、もう本当に世界最大級の、もうアメリカのアップルとかと並んでもおかしくないぐらいでっかい会社ですよね。そこの200名に高校の時に選ばれていたんですか？
Yes, correct. So every year Aramco has a program. It's called the CPC, the College Preparatory Program, where they normally prepare the bright graduates of Saudi Arabia to sponsor their education in the US and then come back and work for Saudi Aramco. And thankfully, I was one of those in the year, the time 2000 or 1999 rather, to accomplish that. I finished my college education. I went back and worked for corporate planning, corporate finance, and Aramco asset management, and it was a great learning.
それ選ばれようと思ったらやっぱりめちゃくちゃ勉強されたというか、成績がすごく良かったということでしょうか？
Yeah, so they choose the 200 of the most accomplished people in Saudi Arabia through their grades, and then they do an exam where thousands of people or tens of thousands apply so that they can get the opportunity. And thankfully, I was one of those people.
そうすると本当に高校の頃からトップエリートみたいな感じで。トップエリート。
I worked hard during my school days, so yeah.
すごくじゃあ勉強をものすごい頑張ってされたんですか？
Correct. Yes, exactly. Yes.
それはもうあれですか、小学校ぐらいの時からずっと勉強をかなり頑張ってやってらっしゃった？
Yes. Since the beginning of time, I was very diligent in school and making sure that I'm a competitive person in general. So I like to be on top of my colleagues, and so thankfully that helped me shape my career in future years.
そんだけ頑張って本当にトップになるとサウジアラムコから選ばれてお金も出してもらって留学もできるということなんですかね？
Correct. So my university schooling days was 100% paid by Saudi Aramco. They paid for my tuition, they paid for my living expenses while I was in the US, so it was entirely Aramco sponsored. And like you said, it's now one of the largest, maybe 3 or 4 companies in the world, worth trillions of dollars. So I'm very lucky to have also contributed to this great company and that great vision, and they continue to do the same in an effort to attract the best talent in Saudi Arabia to work for Saudi Aramco.
サウジアラビアの方からしたらサウジアラムコに入社できるっていうのはもう夢のような話なんじゃないでしょうか？
Absolutely. Aramco is a fantastic place to work, and it's a fantastic school also to shape your future, and also from a perspective of someone who has the ambition. Working in Saudi Aramco not only gives you one of the highest standards of living in Saudi Arabia, because they tend to pay for for a housing that's like no other in Saudi Arabia, a community that's beautiful, great pay, and also a great career development as part of the process, where you refine your skills over time. They invest heavily in human capital and career development. So yes, I would say it's a dream of any Saudi to work for Saudi Aramco.
そう聞くと入れたら一生安泰みたいな会社だと思うんですね。でそういう会社ってあまり会社を辞めて起業する人が少ないように思うんですけど、そのあたりどうなんでしょうか？
It's very true. It's not an easy decision to leave a company of that stature where your health insurance is set for you have the best health coverage and insurance for life, best education for you and your family for life. All of these things and a great pay and a great life. It's very hard for anyone to say, you know what, I want to leave Aramco. Certainly, I think it's never the case that someone leaves Saudi Aramco for another job, but aspiring entrepreneurs that had the great learnings of how a corporate should be run, it's just a great school for you to go and realize your entrepreneurial dream afterwards. And that's what sparked me, is that I learned what I learned from Saudi Aramco, the corporate how corporates should work, the corporate culture, and the growth that I've seen over the years sparked my interest in pursuing something by myself and trying to do something that could potentially change the world.
なるほど。やっぱり日本と一緒でかなり大企業なんで辞める人は少ないんですね。まあでもその中でも日本でも大きな会社勤めても辞めて起業する人はいるわけですけど、アブダラさんはサウジアラムコに何年お勤めになったんでしょうか？
So normally the deal is they sponsor you for 4 years, you work for 4 years. So because I went to college for they sponsored my education for 4 years, I'd have to work for a minimum of 4 years just to settle my dues to the company, and I did exactly that. So I worked exactly 4 years. Saudi Aramco, I started in 2000. When I graduated in 2003, I worked until around 2007 end of 2006, and then that's when I started my banking journey.
そういうことなんです。確かに日本とも似てますね。当然無償でお金全部出してもらって大学行かせてもらったんで4年間は縛りがあって、でもまあやっぱりいろいろ積極的に勉強もされてたのでいろんなことできるなと思いながら4年間は縛りがあったんで勤めて、アラムコさんではどういう仕事をされたんでしょうか？
When I worked at Aramco, I worked in several divisions. So I started, because my original background when I studied was computer engineering and economics. So when I started with the communications engineering department, working with the local area network. So basically, providing the internet services to the wider Aramco network. That's the communications engineering department. 6 months later, I joined corporate planning, which is the department that was tasked with creating the business plan for Saudi Aramco, the long-range planning for Saudi Aramco, working closely with the VP to look at the budgets for the next 5 to 10 years of Saudi Aramco. I then moved to corporate finance. There, I looked over the treasury and the asset management divisions. So with treasury, because there was a lot of cash that's coming from sales of oil, and a lot of that money sits in the bank even for 1 or 2 or 3 days before it's deployed again. We were looking as to how we invest that cash, that capital with banks, with local and international banks, to get the highest rate possible at the treasury. And then with asset management, it's looking at private equity, looking at venture capital, investment opportunities where Saudi Aramco can deploy capital.
はあ、なるほど。コンピューターエンジニアリングのこともしながら経営計画を作ったりとかっていうこともして、あと運用。確かに石油の会社なんでたくさんお金入ってきて、でもこのキャッシュを余らせておくのはもったいないから、これをいかに
The money, exactly. We need to deploy to make, even 4, 3, 4, 5, 6% with banks. We need to contact banks quickly to deploy that money. And
ちょっとでも高いリターンを出すためにやってらっしゃった。
exactly, yes.
やっぱそれを通じていろんなビジネスがあるというかことに気づかれたんですかね？
Absolutely, yes. This is when you start thinking, as to what are the right sectors, what sectors are, more profitable, where do you make great margins, in which businesses, and that's what sparked my interest to kind of look at other sectors of the economy.
そういうのを学ばれて、でそこから4年経って次サンバ銀行、これも非常に大きな銀行ですけど、これなぜ次銀行にキャリアチェンジされたんですか？
Yes, biggest banks in Saudi Arabia. So in fact, my relationship with Samba started in Saudi Aramco because while I was with the corporate finance team in Saudi Aramco, they seconded me to work with the office of the chief economist of Samba to produce a report on the Saudi economy as I was part of. So I was still an Aramco employee seconded to Samba, and then that turned into a long-term position as I started, having a more and more passion to banking.
それをやっぱりこう採用面接とか受けて入るもんなんですかね。
Correct. So after that, I worked very closely with both the asset management team in Aramco and the office of the chief economist in Aramco, and I started liking it, and that turned into a discussion over a long-term position, of course, with the blessings of Saudi Aramco, and that's how I made the move. And at that point, I realized it's kind of, investment banking and deals and private equity is what I want to do long-term. Yeah.
まあでもサウジアラムコもサウジアラビアでも最大の会社ですから、そこから銀行とも一緒に仕事をされていて、向こうもウェルカムっていう感じだったでしょうね。
Of course. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
このサウジアラムコから銀行の方に転職する方って多いんでしょうか？
Yes, it really depends on what people aspire to be or to do. Within Saudi Aramco, there are so many functions that are more downstream and upstream related. Whether it's drilling, whether it's the sales and marketing of oil and oil products to local and international companies and international markets, even working with vessels. And so these guys are more married to the idea of Saudi Aramco and can build a career. But I think if you're in the asset management and corporate finance divisions where your core focus is on the funds that are in Aramco, it starts becoming less diverse. The world that you live in becomes less diverse because you're dealing with banks just to ensure that you get the best rates for overnight deposits and so on. But then if you want to do a deal between two companies, let's say a pharmaceutical company and a medical supplier, Aramco cannot have a say in this, or being in Aramco will not help you do a deal like this. And so I said, you know what, I want to expand my horizon, expand my network as well, and my sphere of influence and learn more. And that sparked my interest in banking and private equity and the likes.
そうするとアラムコの方がたくさんサンバ銀行に転職されるわけでもないんでしょうね、おそらくそうすると。
To the banking sector in general, there will be, especially those who are working in treasury and corporate finance. But now there's a lot more opportunity in Saudi Arabia. Other than Aramco, you have, for example, the Public Investment Fund is doing very exciting things. PIF is doing very, very interesting things. So they own the largest development in Saudi Arabia through Roshan, and they're doing a lot of work in venture capital. They're acquiring businesses globally. They're investing in more in tech and artificial intelligence and the likes.
PIF が人気があるんですね。
Yes, PIF is now one of the largest sovereigns in the world. And so, again, a lot of people are aspiring to, it's becoming another Aramco, in terms of size and size of assets and so on. So a lot of people in Saudi Arabia also aspire to work at PIF because this also widens their horizons to global deal making, right? You can do deals in tech, you can work with venture capital firms, do a lot of private equity, a lot of real estate development, locally and internationally. So it's more diverse in terms of the deal making capabilities and opportunities that you get to see at PIF than for example at Aramco. But yeah, these are so now a Saudi national has choice. You have the government sector, which is huge. You have the semi-government, so the likes of PIF and Saudi Aramco, they operate as semi-government, but their working style is very much private. So it's like a private sector. So, and then you have the banking sector as well, and that's a plethora. You have investment banks, private equity, venture capitals, and traditional banks. So many people look at these opportunities on the whole in Saudi.
投資ファンドのようなものですね。これがすごくサウジアラビアで人気がある仕事であるということですね。でちょっと話を戻しますが、サンバ銀行の方ではこれはどういう仕事を経験されたんでしょうか？
So I started with the office of the chief economist. At the time, his name as an American gentleman, his name was Brad Borland. He was a public figure in Saudi Arabia. He was producing most of the economy reports in Saudi, so I worked very closely with him to look at the Saudi economy. And then I moved to asset management, where at the time the Saudi public equities market was doing very well. So I was working with the asset management team, running portfolios and so on. Today, Samba has merged with the National Commercial Bank to form now the largest Saudi bank, which is now Saudi National Bank, SNB. So it even grew much bigger than when it was back then. NCB and Samba became SNB. NCB is National Commercial Bank. Samba, Saudi American Bank. So it became now Saudi National Bank, SNB, and became a very large bank.
なるほど。資産運用のポートフォリオの管理、助言などをされていたと。
Correct, yes.
そうするとプライベートバンカーみたいな仕事ですかね。
Basically, yes.
ああ、なるほど。サウジアラムコさんでそんなダイナミックな仕事をされて、さらにこのサンバ銀行の方でもダイナミックな仕事をされて、ここから起業っていう形になっていくわけですけど、これはどういうきっかけで自分で事業をやろうと思ったんでしょうか。
So between Samba and Driven, there was also a period where I worked in private equity, which was Merchant Bridge. I joined a private equity partnership, Merchant Bridge, for which we were looking at private companies, buying private companies and then restructuring these companies and then selling them. Yeah, so I had a keen interest in real estate through a customer's request. So one of our customers had a building in Dubai, in JBR, and he asked me to look after it in terms of what they can do with it. And that really, opened my eye to real estate. And then that's how I started Driven. That's what sparked my interest in real estate.
なるほど。でもそこ行くまでにプライベートエクイティファンドみたいなことをしてらっしゃったんですね。実は私ももともと銀行に勤めていて、でその後銀行勤めながら M&A の仕事をしてまして、ちょっとスケールは違うんですけど似た
Oh yes, M&A. I saw the name is M&A, so I assumed you're doing some private equity deals as well. Yeah.
My company name is M&A Studio.
Okay, yes, that's what I saw. So I did a lot of M&A work at Merchant Bridge and even at Samba within the asset management division. We did a lot of M&A.
でそこからこのドリブンプロパティーズ、これはその事業をやっていく中で不動産の仕事に出会われたわけですね。
Started Driven. Yes, that was back in 2012. So now 13 years ago now.
でも起業する時って私もそうなんですけど、最初資本とかお金とかってない中でスタートすると思うんですけど、そういったところのご苦労とかってなかったですか？
Yes, I had when the last transaction that happened in Merchant Bridge was a sale of a telecom company in Iraq. It's called AsiaCell. We sold our stake in Merchant Bridge to the Qatari operator, which is called Ooredoo. It was at the time QTEL, Qatar Telecom. And I had a decent exit then in terms of the capital that I had in my hands to start deploying. And that's what helped me, with the start of Driven.
イラクの会社をカタールに売却したんですね。
So now Qatar Telecom owns the majority of this company, AsiaCell it's called.
じゃあそこで起業するための資本金を作ったようなことになりますね。
Correct, yes.
はあ、なるほど、興味深いですね。でもイラクとカタールってこれまたなんかダイナミックですよね。クロスボーダーで。よくわかりました。じゃあもうそれで資本を作って不動産事業に入っていかれたと。しかしドバイという国は2005年ってまだ砂漠みたいな状態だったと思うんですけど、始められた頃ってドバイってもう発展してたんですか？
It was clear that you can see the writing was on the wall. So it was clear where Dubai was going in 2012. The downtown district where we are now was mostly built. Burj Khalifa, the Dubai Mall were just starting. At the time it was actually a very fortunate time for us, well, unfortunate for the Arab world, but fortunate time for Dubai because it was the time of the Arab Spring where a lot of, Arab countries were going through some turmoil with leadership and so on. And a lot of the wealthy of these Arabs in Egypt and Tunisia, Iraq, Libya, and other countries decided to move to Dubai. So that was one of the real estate booms in Dubai happened around the same time when we started Driven.
私、ドリブンさんの資料で2005年のダウンタウンの写真見て、その頃にはまだ砂漠が多かったと思うんですけど、創業された2012年の段階ではもう結構出来上がってたんですね。7年間で。そうするともうここが伸びるのはもう分かっていたような感じなんでしょうかね。
It's still half of what it is today because Dubai developed so fast,
いやちょうど同い年なんで、おそらく創業されたのが30歳ぐらいですよね。私も30歳の頃まだ私銀行員してましたんで、その頃になんかすごいダイナミックなことされてたんだなと思って。
Yeah, it was a tough decision also to embark on this entrepreneurial journey, but I didn't look back. I never looked back, and I thought I have to make this successful. This is one shot, and we have to do it.
でもお話聞いてると、企業の資金もしっかりと金融っていう世界でうまくビジネスを進められて、しっかりお金を作って事業 業を始められて、で順調に伸ばしていらっしゃると思うんですけど、起業されてから苦労されたこととかってあったらお伺いしてみたいんですけど。
Never. I think all experiences are great. Even experiences that don't go the right way are lessons learned, and these lessons you should cheer, and it's almost like a course that you finish the course, you understood it, and you got what you want from that course in order to go to the next round.
確かにアブダラさんお話聞いてたら、全てこう高校生の頃から順調にうまくいき続けてる感じがありまして、だから失敗とかってあんまりされてない感じがなんかしましたね。
No, I didn't. There are a lot of failure stories. I don't have to. We don't have to. It's. But I don't see them as failures. I see them as lessons. I see them as these are the things that bring you more strength to run your business in any business in a more efficient. But there have been a few companies that started and are no longer operating. So these stories just teach you how to do things better and becomes great lessons for business and life.
なるほど。やっぱりアブダラさんでもいろんなチャレンジをされているので、失敗することも当然ありますよね。でもそれをこう糧にして学びにして成長していっていらっしゃると。
Yes, you learned. Yes, and you have to always be positive. I think positivity is a trait that's a must. Especially when you're doing business, you have to always have a positive mindset that things will go right, and hope that they do.
ありがとうございます。非常にたくさんのお話を聞いてきてですね、アブダラさんのことが私もすごいよく分かったんですけども、同い年でビジネス的にもそして経済的にもすごく成功されてると思うんですが、ちょうど同い年だから聞きたいんですけど、今じゃあそういった中でどういう思いでビジネスやっているのか、どういうことが夢といいますかね、ドリームなんかを聞いてみたいですね。
We want to continue our growth journey within the verticals that we've built. We intend to go public, so we intend to file for an IPO and let's say short term. Beyond that, we would like to add value to the world. So we want to make a change, right? And especially when it comes to tech, we want to elevate our standards of doing business to make them more efficient in order to deliver a seamless experience to the customer that is not like any other. So we want to continue to innovate, do a lot of research. We have a team of individuals and driven labs that continue to work hard to elevate our technology to make sure that we build for a brighter future and hopefully change the world in the process.
なるほど。目標は IPO なんですね。マーケットはどこのマーケットに？
The logical market to be in is the Dubai financial market.
日本でいう東証みたいなところですかね。なるほど。じゃあもう夢は上場ということなんですね。
Yes.
今上場に向けてもう準備がすごいいろいろ大変なんじゃないですか？
We're about to file. We've done a lot of the work with both the Capital Markets Authority and the auditors here and so on. So hopefully a 2026 listing is in the works.
M&A の仕事もされていてということなんですけど、単純にこう会社をキャッシュに変えるということだけであれば M&A っていう手法もあるんですけど、 IPO を目指される一番の理由ってどこにあるんでしょうか？
It's the way I see it is when you grow a company and you embark on that long journey, there is no finish line. But I think one of because you want to continue to grow until the end of time, let's say for the lack of a better word, but one of the stepping stones into that after time, capital markets, where you get a liquidity event. We've created an equity program to our top talent here, where they can also realize the value that they have built for the company through a listing or an IPO, and it's just one step for any corporate as it grows and matures over time.
もう永続的に続く会社にしたいと、すごい対極的なというか思いがあるんですね。そしてじゃあ最後にこれ聞いてみたいんですが、アブダラさんは日本が好きだということで聞いてますけど、日本のどういうところがお好きなんでしょうか？
I mean, I think everything about Japan is beautiful. The people is something that you don't always see how people are nice and welcome and hospitable in Japan. The food is the best food in the world. I think there is no doubt about it. The variety, the sushi, the ramen, the yakiniku, the teppanyaki, the tempura, all kinds of food in Japan is fantastic. And the culture. right? The culture is unbelievable. Like you walk in the street and you feel that you're in a different planet. You feel that it's a different world because the whole atmosphere is welcoming. So a lot of things about Japan and the fact that it's very structured and very straightforward, and the society is very integrated and that everyone respects one another. There's a lot of respect to time and effort and so on. So all of these things and more are things to look forward to in Japan. It's just a beautiful country. Wherever you go, there's something really, really beautiful to see.
よく伝わりました。本当に日本のことを好んでいただいているということで、大阪とかにもよくセミナーとかでもお越しいただいてるんですよね。
Yes, I love Osaka. I love the okonomiyaki in Osaka and takoyaki. Osaka is a beautiful city, and we did a lot of work there, a lot of seminars, and we continue to go there. Osaka and Kyoto as well. Kyoto is beautiful.
ドリブンプロパティーズさんは大阪、東京もそうですけど、日本で結構セミナーやっていただいていて、大阪もアブダラ社長もお越しになるということで、この動画をご覧いただいて直接話聞いてみたいという方いらっしゃったら、ぜひセミナーにお越しいただいたら直接質問なんかもできるかもしれません。
It would be a real pleasure. Yes, that's for sure.
いや、ぜひご関心ある方はセミナーなんかにもご参加いただいたらいいかなと思いました。今日は私もずっと日本にいる時からアブダラさんに何を聞こうかなって長く考えていたんですけど、非常にこのファーストキャリアからこのサウジアラムコさん、そしてサンバ銀行さん、そしてプライベートエクイティファンドを挟んでの起業、非常によく分かりましたし、これ日本の視聴者の方もすごく学びになる動画になったんじゃないかなと思います。今日は本当社長むちゃくちゃお忙しい中お時間いただきまして、インタビューにお答えいただきましてありがとうございました。またフセインさんも翻訳いただきまして本当に
頑張ってごめんなさい。
もう本当に
許してください。日本語難しくて、英語も難しい、日本語も難しい。
いやもう今日はでも本当に多分他の動画では取り上げてないようなことが社長のパーソナリティをお伝えできるような動画になったんじゃないかなと思いますので、本当に今日はお忙しいところありがとうございました。
ありがとうございます。Any question is a good question. So all you had great questions, and I'm free to answer any more that can come to your mind. Your audience, I'm more than happy to talk to you more about anything related to Dubai property or anything property or anything else as well. So consider this your home. Your home away from home.
ありがとうございます。
We'll have a desk for you. So whenever you're here, just make sure that you're.
このオフィスも買い取りといいますか買収されたと聞いてます。
We bought the building last November, and we took the first 2 floors as our headquarters, as well, and the 8th floor as our development company.
後ほどこのオフィスのルームツアーといいますかね、動画も撮らせていただきますが、むちゃくちゃかっこいいオフィスで、日本のマスといいますか盆栽みたいなやつもね、めちゃくちゃおしゃれな。
Yes, the bonsai. Yes.
あれは社長の趣味ですか？
It is. Bonsai is my favorite tree. Yes, that's why it's here. So.
これ日本がお好きっていうことがすごくよくわかるようなこのオフィスなんで、これ後ほど今からまた撮影させてもらいたいと思います。本当に今日はもういろんなことをお答えいただきましてありがとうございました。
Thank you. ありがとうございます。Thank you so much. Thank you.
はい、皆さん本日も動画を最後までご覧いただきましてありがとうございました。今日ドリブンプロパティーズの社長のアブダラさんにインタビューさせていただきましたけども、結構長い時間、もう1時間を超える時間インタビューさせていただきまして、もともとサウジアラムコというもうとてつもなくでかい国有石油企業のキャリアから始まってサンバ銀行、そこからプライベートエクイティを挟んでの起業ということで、一会社員という立場から金融というところを深く学ばれて成功してこられたのかっていうことがよく分かりましたし、最後出ましたけども IPO を目指していらっしゃるんですよね。ですから2026年にはひょっとすると上場企業の社長になっていらっしゃるかもしれない社長でした。かつ私も年が一緒なんでですね、確かに今45にもなるとこんな人いっぱいいるよなと思いながら、でもなかなか会うことがないので非常に興味深いいいインタビューになったかと思います。この動画をご覧いただきまして皆さん面白かったなとか良かったなと思っていただいた方はチャンネル登録、グッドボタンいただけますと嬉しく思います。また私野崎に何かこの人紹介してほしいとか相談したいということがある方はどうぞお気軽に概要欄のリンクからお問い合わせをいただければと思います。これからもいい動画をどんどん作っていきたいと思いますので応援よろしくお願いします。それではまた次回の動画でお会いしましょう。